So I realize that it's been quite some time since I've uploaded a video, but I thought it was important to share this video in particular since we're entering a peak season for suicides. Now, contrary to popular belief, the majority of people who end their lives via suicide don't do so during the holidays. The majority of people who suicide actually do so in late spring, early summer. The highest rates of suicide completions are in May and June. November and December actually have the lowest rates of suicide completions here in North America. Now, scientists aren't really sure why this is the case, but there's some thinking that the longer days and increased exposure to sunlight leads to changes in brain levels of serotonin and melatonin, which are two very important hormones having to do with emotional health. Warm weather is activating, so people may have a bit more energy to actually follow through with plans for self-harm during the summer months. Now, this line of thinking is still a bit controversial, and there's still a bit of conflicting evidence regarding this. But essentially, serotonin and melatonin are modulated by sunlight. So serotonin is converted into melatonin through a series of enzymatic reactions. And one of those enzymes is an enzyme called serotonin N-acetyl transferase, or SNAT. Sunlight actually inhibits SNAT, causing melatonin production to decline and serotonin levels to peak. Serotonin is considered one of those feel-good neurotransmitters in the brain, but it is possible to have too much of a good thing. In people who are really sensitive to the effects of serotonin, high levels of serotonin can be activating and even agitating. This is why certain people simply can't tolerate antidepressants and may actually end up feeling worse when taking antidepressants that are aimed at boosting serotonin levels. Environmental factors may also be at play, in that pollen may increase the release of inflammatory proteins called cytokines that have also been implicated in depression. And I know it may sound pretty outrageous that pollen can lead to worsening depression, but we actually do see a more pronounced peak in suicides in people who work outdoors versus those who work indoors, as well as in rural communities versus urban areas in May and June. So this does kind of argue toward this theory. An analysis in Denmark found that suicides increased by 13.2% when pollen counts were higher. So I'm telling you all of this because it's important that you know that there are real biological factors that may be influencing your suicidal thoughts. This isn't due to a character flaw or a moral weakness. Depression isn't a static disease with a single explanation. It's a syndrome that can have many different causes. So we can really think of the symptoms of depression as information or a warning signal that something is physiologically or even spiritually out of alignment. So the job of the psychiatrist is to do a bit of detective work to find out what's causing the symptoms so that you can get back to a state of wellness. Now, maybe you're someone who's already tried all sorts of antidepressants and things just haven't gotten any better. Please know that there are so many things that can be done to help treat depression that go above and beyond antidepressant medications. Most traditional psychiatrists will do a bit of lab work to find out if there are any physical health issues like thyroid dysfunction, B12, or vitamin D deficiencies that may be factoring into depression. So if you're struggling with depression, make sure that these issues are addressed before writing your depression off as something that's untreatable. Now, let's say you've gone the traditional route and nothing has turned up in those areas. A functional psychiatrist can really help you take a deeper dive into looking at things like methylation, oxidative stress, energy metabolism, gut and adrenal health, and even trace mineral status. So copper and zinc levels, for instance, can have a major impact on emotional well-being. And lastly, we can't ignore the spirit. By spirit, I mean that underlying sense of identity, meaning, and purpose. So are you living a life that's truly in alignment with your purpose and what truly brings you joy? Or are you trying to live up to someone else's expectations of success? There are 7.4 billion people on the planet, and only one you. In my experience, most of the people who come to my office with suicidal thoughts don't want to die. They're just tired of suffering. And there's so many treatments available that can help you find joy again. So if you are struggling with thoughts of suicide, please seek help from a mental health professional. And if you're not sure who to call or what to do, the National Suicide Prevention Line is a great resource that can be utilized 24 hours per day, 7 days per week. Their toll-free number is 1-800-273-8255. They even offer the option to chat online on their website at suicidepreventionlifeline.org. You deserve happiness, and there are plenty of mental health practitioners who can help you get there. You're not alone, and help is available. You've just got to make the call. Be well and God bless.